The period known as the Golden Age began in 1939 when Timely Publications, which later became Marvel, entered the rapidly growing comic book market. The company's first major success appeared in Marvel Comics issue 1. This issue introduced two central figures. The first was the original Human Torch, an advanced android who could surround himself with fire and control intense heat while seeking justice across New York City. The second was Namor the Submariner, the powerful monarch of Atlantis who ruled the undersea kingdom with superhuman strength, the ability to breathe both underwater and on land, and the capacity to fly using small wings on his ankles. Namor became one of the earliest well-known anti-heroes, often clashing with surface dwellers while defending his people. In March 1941, Timely added its most enduring icon with the debut of Captain America in Captain America Comics issue 1. Captain America is Steve Rogers, a frail young man transformed by the experimental super soldier serum into a peak human combatant carrying an indestructible vibranium shield. His first cover depicted him striking Adolf Hitler months before the United States entered World War II, and his stories quickly became symbols of American determination. Millions of readers followed Steve's missions against Axis powers and domestic threats, making him Timely's leading hero. During the war years, Timely published numerous titles featuring Steve, the Human Torch, and Namor fighting enemy forces and superpowered villains across global battlefields and American cities. Steve was joined by two partners, Bucky Barnes, a skilled teenage fighter and expert acrobat who aided him on covert missions, and the Golden Girl, Elizabeth Betsy Ross, a courageous government agent who occasionally fought alongside him. By the late 1940s, as World War II ended, audience interest in superhero adventures declined. Sales of superhero titles fell sharply, and Captain America's series was discontinued in 1950. During this transitional period, the company operated under the name Atlas Comics and emphasized giant monster and science fiction stories. Notable examples included the debut of Groot, a towering extraterrestrial tree-like being with immense strength and regenerative abilities, and Fin Fang Foom, a colossal dragon-like alien with telepathic powers. These stories displayed wide creative experimentation even as costume superheroes nearly disappeared from publication. Although superpowered champions faded from the shelves for roughly a decade, the Golden Age established the core of Marvel's shared universe. The groundwork laid by Steve, Namor, and the Human Torch created lasting continuity that would later expand dramatically in the 1960s Silver Age, when interconnected hero teams and recurring characters defined a new era of Marvel storytelling. The period known as the Silver Age of Marvel began in November 1961 with the release of Fantastic Four issue 1, which redefined how superhero stories were told. This series introduced a team of 4 explorers who gained extraordinary abilities after exposure to cosmic radiation during a space mission. Reed Richards, a scientific genius with the power to stretch his body into any shape, led the group. Susan Storm, who could bend light to become invisible and create protective force fields, served as both a strategist and a calming presence. Her younger brother Johnny Storm ignited into living fire and controlled intense heat as the Human Torch. Ben Grimm, a pilot transformed into the rock-skinned powerhouse called the Thing, possessed immense strength and resilience. Unlike earlier heroes who maintained secret identities, these 4 lived openly and navigated personal conflicts while defending Earth from threats such as alien invasions and interdimensional dangers. Their adventures combined science fiction spectacle with the dynamics of a close family, setting a new standard for Marvel storytelling. The following year saw the debut of Spider-Man in Amazing Fantasy issue 15. Spider-Man is Peter Parker, a high school student who received superhuman strength, agility, and the ability to cling to walls after a radioactive spider bite. Peter faced daily struggles with school, finances, and relationships while battling enemies like the Vulture and Dr. Octopus. His role as a main hero rather than a sidekick made him relatable to readers who identified with his personal hardships and sense of responsibility. Within only a few years, Marvel introduced a wide range of new heroes. Thor arrived in Journey into Mystery issue 83, blending Earth-based stories with the mythic realm of Asgard and wielding the enchanted hammer Mjolnir. Iron Man appeared in Tales of Suspense issue 39, presenting Tony Stark, a brilliant industrialist and inventor whose powered armor and embedded chest device kept his injured heart functioning while he defended the world. The Hulk debuted in The Incredible Hulk issue 1, focusing on scientist Bruce Banner, who transformed into a towering green figure of limitless strength whenever angered, reflecting the duality of human nature. nature. Doctor Strange, first seen in Strange Tales issue 110, mastered mystical forces to protect the Earth from supernatural threats. Daredevil emerged in Daredevil issue 1 as Matt Murdock, a blind attorney whose remaining senses became superhuman, allowing him to fight crime in New York City. These heroes inhabited a shared world where characters frequently met and joined forces, giving the Marvel Universe a unique interconnected quality. In September 1963, Marvel assembled Thor, Iron Man, the Hulk, Ant-Man, and the Wasp to form the Avengers in the Avengers issue 1, a team dedicated to confronting threats beyond the reach of any single hero. That same month, X-Men issue 1 introduced a group of young mutants, individuals born with extraordinary abilities, led by telepath Charles Xavier. The team, including members such as the optic-blasting Cyclops and the ice-generating Iceman, fought for peaceful coexistence in a society that often feared and rejected them, serving as a powerful metaphor for social discrimination and prejudice. Marvel's Silver Age stood apart because it incorporated contemporary concerns and realistic character growth into its stories. Spider-Man struggled with financial problems and the burden of responsibility. Tony Stark faced ongoing health challenges linked to his heart, and later storylines explored his dependence on alcohol. The X-Men confronted hostility and systemic bias. Plots addressed events like the space race, rising nuclear tensions, and even drug abuse, occasionally challenging the strict guidelines of the Comics Code Authority. By 1970, Marvel had transformed from a modest publisher into a dominant force in popular culture. The departure of artist Jack Kirby that year symbolically marked the end of the Silver Age, but the foundation of a complex, connected universe of evolving characters ensured Marvel's continuing growth and set the stage for the darker and more ambitious stories of the decades that followed. The Bronze Age of Marvel began in the early 1970s, a period marked by a significant change in both subject matter and tone. The Comics Code Authority, which had previously enforced strict censorship, relaxed its guidelines, allowing creators to explore more intense themes. Marvel responded by introducing stories with stronger violence, supernatural elements, and serious real-world issues, such as drug abuse, political conflict, and moral ambiguity. A defining moment occurred in June 1973 with The Amazing Spider-Man issue 121, when Gwen Stacy, the longtime partner of Peter Parker, was killed during a confrontation with Norman Osborn, the Green Goblin. Until this point, major characters rarely died, and this loss demonstrated that heroes could fail and that their personal lives carried real stakes. The event signaled a lasting shift toward more unpredictable and emotionally charged storytelling. During this period, Marvel introduced several characters who embodied a more rugged and morally complex approach to heroism. Wolverine first appeared in a brief cameo in The Incredible Hulk issue 180 and took a central role in issue 181. Wolverine is James Logan Howlett, a mutant possessing retractable adamantium claws, heightened senses, and an extraordinary healing ability. The Punisher debuted in The Amazing Spider-Man issue 129 as Frank Castle, a former Marine who became a relentless vigilante after the murder of his family, employing lethal methods against criminals. Ghost Rider appeared in Marvel Spotlight issue 5 as Johnny Blaze, a stunt motorcyclist who bound his soul to a fiery spirit of vengeance, transforming into a skeletal rider engulfed in flames who wielded supernatural chains and a burning motorcycle. Marvel's cosmic storytelling also expanded dramatically. In Iron Man issue 55, Thanos, a powerful Eternal born on Titan, emerged as a universal threat seeking the Infinity Gems, mystical stones capable of manipulating time, space, mind, soul, power, and reality. These cosmic sagas featured vast interstellar conflicts and surreal visuals, laying the groundwork for later large-scale Marvel events. The Bronze Age placed strong emphasis on social commentary. In a notable storyline spanning The Amazing Spider-Man issues 96 to 98, Harry Osborn, Norman's son and Peter Parker's close friend, struggled with drug addiction, breaking new ground by addressing substance abuse directly. The X-Men were revitalized, which introduced new team members including Storm, a weather-controlling mutant with regal leadership abilities, Colossus, a Russian mutant capable of transforming his body into organic steel, Nightcrawler, a blue-skinned teleporter with acrobatic agility and a devout faith, and Wolverine, now a central member, creating the core lineup recognized today. Under this relaunch, the team's battles against prejudice and fear of mutants served as a metaphor for civil rights struggles. By the mid-1980s, Marvel's storytelling had become more intricate and emotionally resonant. The Dark Phoenix saga, spanning the Uncanny X-Men issues 129 to 137, followed Jean Grey's transformation into the immensely powerful and ultimately tragic Phoenix. Secret Wars became Marvel's first major line-wide crossover, bringing numerous heroes and villains together on an alien world for a reality-altering conflict. These ambitious narratives marked the culmination of the Bronze Age, setting the stage for the darker and more expansive stories that defined the next era of Marvel history. The period, often called the Extreme and Experimental Era, stretched from the mid-1980s through the 1990s, bringing darker themes and bold experimentation to Marvel storytelling. The Amazing Spider-Man issues 293 and 294 presented Kraven's Last Hunt, a psychological story in which Sergei Kravinoff, a master hunter, captured Peter Parker, buried him alive, and briefly took his place as Spider-Man to prove his own superiority. This intense narrative highlighted the mental and moral struggles behind heroism and illustrated Marvel's willingness to explore darker territory. The late 1980s and early 1990s saw an explosion of expansive sagas. The 6-issue series Infinity Gauntlet depicted Thanos collecting all 6 Infinity Gems and using them to erase half of all life in the universe, challenging nearly every major Marvel hero. The X-Men also reached new heights of popularity with landmark stories. Days of Future Past, in issues 141 and 142, portrayed a dystopian future ruled by mutant-hunting sentinels and a desperate time travel mission to avert that outcome. Later, the Age of Apocalypse event presented an alternate reality in which the ancient mutant apocalypse ruled an Earth devastated by war and oppression. This era celebrated complex, sometimes violent antiheroes. The Punisher expanded into several ongoing titles where he waged a relentless war on organized crime. Venom, originally introduced as Spider-Man's alien symbiote costume and later revealed as Eddie Brock bonded with the alien, evolved from a menacing adversary into a lethal protector with his own series. Marvel leaned into exaggerated visuals and spectacle. Characters such as Deadpool, introduced in the New Mutants issue 98 as a wisecracking mercenary with regenerative powers, and Carnage, the offspring of the Venom symbiote bonded to serial killer Cletus Cassidy, became breakout stars. Stories grew louder and more action-driven. However, the intense focus on collectible covers and mass production eventually led to a market collapse. Marvel declared bankruptcy in 1996 as sales dropped across the industry. Despite financial troubles, the company continued to experiment. The Marvel Knights imprint presented mature and character-driven titles such as Daredevil and Black Panther, bringing new creative energy. This era also laid the groundwork for Marvel's eventual resurgence. Marvel was prepared for a new direction, leading into the creation of the Ultimate Universe in 2000 and setting the stage for the modern revitalization of its vast, interconnected world. By the late 1990s, Marvel had emerged from bankruptcy and shifted its strategy toward higher-quality storytelling rather than the sales-driven gimmicks of the previous decade. This creative revival began with the Marvel Knights imprint, which offered darker, more character-focused narratives for mature readers. Key titles in this line revitalized several heroes. Black Panther, T'Challa, the Monarch of Wakanda, who combined exceptional martial arts abilities with advanced technology and keen political insight, received a groundbreaking run that emphasized geopolitical intrigue and cultural depth, establishing themes that later influenced major film adaptations. Marvel introduced the Ultimate Universe, a separate continuity designed to attract a new generation without decades of backstory. This imprint reimagined classic heroes in a contemporary setting. Ultimate Spider-Man presented Peter Parker as a modern teenager, balancing school, friendships, and superhero duties while facing updated versions of villains such as the Green Goblin. Ultimate X-Men portrayed mutants as a young, edgy team confronting global prejudice, while the Ultimates reintroduced the Avengers as a high-stakes, politically charged squad resembling a modern military task force. During this era, a wave of new creative talent reshaped Marvel's storytelling. Ultimate Spider-Man became an enduring success for its long-running exploration of Peter Parker's growth. The Ultimates delivered action-packed narratives that examined global politics and the costs of power, laying conceptual groundwork for future crossover events such as Civil War. The new X-Men series redefined the mutant team with a sleek new visual style, international settings, and complex themes of evolution and coexistence, emphasizing their role as a worldwide force for peace. Marvel's resurgence coincided with its increasing presence in film. The X-Men movie in 2000 and the Spider-Man movie in 2002 achieved major box office success, proving that Marvel heroes could thrive in live-action storytelling, quietly laying the foundation for the interconnected Marvel Cinematic Universe. Readers could enjoy the classic Earth 616 continuity alongside the streamlined modern Ultimate line, while cinematic adaptations expanded the audience beyond comics. This period re-established Marvel as a creative leader and prepared the way for the expansive multimedia universe that followed. Beginning around 2005, Marvel centered its storytelling on large, interconnected events that involved nearly every major character and altered the course of its universe. These line-wide crossovers were designed so that major developments unfolded across multiple series, making them essential reading for anyone following the larger narrative. The first major example was House of M. In this story, Wanda Maximoff, the Scarlet Witch, whose abilities include reality manipulation and powerful chaos magic, suffered a mental breakdown and reshaped the entire world into a reality where mutants held power. When her altered world collapsed, she uttered the phrase, "No more mutants," reducing the global mutant population from millions to approximately 198 individuals. This dramatic shift showed that Marvel was willing to implement permanent, universe-wide consequences. Civil War presented a direct ideological conflict between Tony Stark and Steve Rogers. The dispute centered on the Superhuman Registration Act, a law requiring all individuals with extraordinary abilities to register their identities and serve under government oversight. Heroes across the world were forced to choose sides. Peter Parker revealed his secret identity publicly during the conflict, and the battle ended with Steve's surrender and subsequent assassination. This storyline tested alliances and redefined relationships across the Marvel universe. Marvel escalated its stakes with Secret Invasion, where the alien Skrulls, shapeshifters capable of perfectly impersonating others, were revealed to have replaced key heroes and leaders for years. This revelation shattered trust among allies. Following this, the Dark Reign era began when Norman Osborn, the cunning industrialist, seized control of global security and formed his own Avengers team composed of former villains. His reign ended with the 2010 event Siege, in which Asgard was attacked and Norman's power collapsed. Subsequent crossovers maintained a relentless pace. Fear itself unleashed ancient Asgardian entities called the Worthy, spreading fear and chaos across Earth. Avengers vs. X-Men focused on the Phoenix Force, a cosmic embodiment of life and destruction, igniting a massive conflict between Earth's mightiest heroes and the mutant defenders. Each of these events permanently changed team rosters, alliances, and the roles of prominent characters. The decade of escalating crossovers culminated in Secret Wars of 2015, where the multiverse faced total collapse. Victor Von Doom, the brilliant ruler of Latveria and arch-enemy of the Fantastic Four, absorbed the godlike power of the Beyonders to create a patchwork planet called Battleworld. Heroes and villains from different realities fought to survive until reality was ultimately rebuilt. This event merged key elements from alternate universes, most notably bringing Miles Morales into the primary Earth 616 timeline. Secret Wars allowed Marvel to streamline its complex continuity and marked the conclusion of a decade defined by sweeping, universe-altering events, preparing the stage for the next phase of storytelling. After the conclusion of Secret Wars, Marvel relaunched nearly its entire publishing line under the banner All New, All Different Marvel, signaling a major focus on legacy, diversity, and new voices. This initiative highlighted the passing of heroic mantles and the emergence of fresh characters who represented a wider range of backgrounds and perspectives. Several established roles were taken up by successors. In Thor, Issue 1, Jane Foster, a brilliant physician and longtime ally of Asgard, lifted the enchanted hammer Mjolnir and became the new Thor. While battling cosmic threats with the powers of lightning and flight, Jane also faced a personal struggle with cancer, creating a deeply emotional narrative. Sam Wilson, the high-flying hero known as the Falcon, who uses mechanical wings and advanced combat skills, assumed the identity of Captain America. Amadeus Cho, a teenage genius with extraordinary intelligence, became the new Hulk, gaining immense strength and regenerative abilities through exposure to gamma radiation. Other iconic roles shifted as well, with Laura Kinney, a clone of Logan, possessing similar healing powers and adamantium claws, becoming Wolverine, and Kate Bishop, a highly skilled archer and strategist, taking the name Hawkeye alongside Clint Barton. This era also introduced new heroes who quickly became central figures. Kamala Khan, a Pakistani-American teenager from Jersey City with shape-shifting abilities derived from inhuman genetics, gained widespread acclaim for stories that combined superhero action with themes of family, culture, and adolescence. Miles Morales was integrated into Earth 616 continuity, sharing the Spider-Man title with Peter. Riri Williams debuted in Invincible Iron Man as a young engineering prodigy who reverse-engineered her own advanced suit of armor, becoming Ironheart and carrying forward Tony Stark's legacy. America Chavez headlined her own series, portraying a dimension-hopping hero with super strength and the ability to create star-shaped portals. Many other series showcased LGBTQ+ heroes and characters of diverse ethnicities and backgrounds. These stories reflected the broad diversity of Marvel's readership and emphasized inclusion as a central value. Recognizing the importance of both legacy and tradition, Marvel launched the Fresh Start initiative, restoring original characters such as Thor Odinson reclaiming Mjolnir, Tony Stark resuming his role as Iron Man, and Bruce Banner returning as the Hulk. However, the heroes introduced during the all-new, all-different period, including Kamala, Miles, Jane, Sam, and Riri, remained integral to the Marvel Universe, continuing to share stories and shape the evolving landscape of its interconnected world. After 2018, Marvel entered what many fans call the modern era, a period defined by fresh storytelling, classic heroes reclaiming the spotlight, and the growing influence of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU. A key turning point arrived in 2019 with Jonathan Hickman's twin series House of X and Powers of X. These books completely reimagined mutant society. Mutants united on the sentient island of Krakoa, declared themselves a sovereign nation, and used advanced resurrection protocols to bring fallen mutants back to life. This radical shift wasn't just a plot twist, it was a sweeping cultural and political reinvention that turned the X-Men line into essential reading and influenced every corner of Marvel's publishing strategy. Marvel continued its tradition of large-scale crossovers, but with fresh thematic weight. War of the Realms brought an Asgardian war to Earth. King in Black unleashed Null, the god of symbiotes, in a dark cosmic invasion. Axe Judgment Day pitted the Avengers, X-Men, and Eternals against each other, while exploring questions of morality, divinity, and the value of humanity. These events kept the universe interconnected, while probing deeper ideas about heroism and consequence. Cosmic storytelling thrived, with acclaimed runs on Eternals, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Immortal Thor. At the same time, street-level heroes enjoyed a renaissance. Characters like Daredevil, Moon Knight, and the Punisher received some of their most critically praised series in years, reintroducing a gritty, grounded tone that balanced Marvel's more cosmic adventures. Meanwhile, the MCU became a cultural juggernaut and began shaping the comics more directly. Characters such as Shang-Chi, Scarlet Witch, and Loki gained higher profiles and new solo titles, often with designs and personalities aligned to their on-screen portrayals. This synergy made the entire Marvel brand feel more unified, blurring the line between page and screen. Marvel relaunched the Ultimate Universe, offering a fresh continuity with updated takes on Spider-Man, Black Panther, Iron Man, and the Avengers. Like the original early 2000s Ultimate line, this new universe provides a modern, accessible entry point for new readers while letting creators experiment with bold reinterpretations of classic heroes. Today, Marvel operates on two fronts: an ever-evolving classic 616 universe and a reimagined Ultimate line. With ambitious storytelling, ongoing MCU integration, and a willingness to reinvent itself, Marvel's modern era stands as one of the most dynamic and unpredictable periods in the company's history.